be introducing the presiding officer, which is also Caleb. So take it away.
Thank you, Michelle. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well and ready for another exciting meeting at the Future Leaders Gavel Club. My name is Caleb Van Brunt. It is an honor to be your club president, and I would like to officially call this meeting to order. The Future Leaders Gavel Club is a Toastmasters club open to middle school and high school students in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And to start our meeting tonight, I would like to invite our Toastmaster of the night, Ethan, to take it away and show us the rest of the meeting. Ethan, take it away.
Hey. Thank you, President Caleb. Now let's meet our functionaries for the evening, because we always got to do that first. It looks like our odd counter. Well, our odd counter for today is also Caleb. I get to hand it right back to him. This is starting to feel rather like a game of hot potato.
Thank you, Ethan. As the all counter, I will note any crutch words used throughout the meeting. Crutch words maybe sound like or like, so, you know. And I will note all these crutch words in a spreadsheet and give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you, and back to you, Ethan.
Thank you, Caleb. Now for the grammarian, who is going to be the only other person in this meeting whose name begins with CA, Kara. So, Kara, could you tell us about your grammarian's role?
Thank you, Ethan. As the grammarian, I will listen for the word of the day, which is zealot, pronounced in that way. Zealot means someone who is fanatically committed to a cause or belief, often showing extreme passion or enthusiasm. For example, she was a zealot for environmental conservation, dedicating every waking moment to spreading awareness and advocating for policy changes. I encourage anyone speaking during any part of the meeting to use it. Throughout the meeting, I will listen to everyone's word usage and write down any awkward use or misuse of the language. Thank you, and back to you, Ethan.
All right. Thank you, Kara. Now for the timer, who's going to be the only person in the meeting whose name begins with a J. John,
Thank
can
you.
you please tell us about the timer's role?
Thank you, Ethan. As the timer, I will monitor time for each speaker. Throughout the meeting, I will listen carefully to the program participant and signal them. I will use just a second. Wait. I will use a green background for the minimum time required, a yellow background at the middle of the expected time, and a red background at the end of the allotted or agreed upon time. I will also record each participant's name and their actual time used. Thank you, and back to you.
Hey, thank you, Janya. Now, I guess the general evaluator, or I should really be calling the second order evaluator, Claire.
Thank you, Ethan. As a general evaluator, I will manage the evaluation portion of the meeting by calling for speech evaluators and the reports from the odd counter, grammarian, and timer. And finally, I will provide an evaluation of the meeting as a whole.
There you, second order evaluator, Claire. I guess now let's go on to the speech portion of tonight's meeting. So our first speaker for tonight is going to be Eliana. I don't know why she has in her Zoom name. I'm not sure if that's related to her speech or not, because I don't actually know what her speech is called or what the introduction is. So I guess whenever the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Today I'll be introducing myself to you all, and I hope the speech will help you learn more about me and to break the ice. My name is Eliana. I am 13 years old, and I live in Southern California. I have two younger sisters named Kayla and Tessa. I am currently in 8th grade, and I've been homeschooled my whole life. Although I'm not sure if any of you are also homeschooled, I'm going to tell you why I like it, while also telling you a bit more about myself. My number one favorite thing about homeschooling is the flexibility. There's no set schedule on when I have to do everything each day, just as long as I finish it by the deadline. Additionally, if the lesson that day is easy, I can do 2 in a day or skip ahead. If the lesson is harder, I can take some extra time to work it out. I can also take classes in the middle of the day without missing school. So there's a lot more time for practicing instruments, doing my hobbies, reading books, or working on my projects. One thing I've been getting into lately is art and animation, so it's really great to be able to draw and take a quick mental break in the middle of the day to do some doodles, then get back to school. Unfortunately, it means I can get very sidetracked and end up procrastinating everything, like the speech I wrote completely this afternoon. Having a very flexible schedule also means that my family and I can go on spontaneous vacations during the school year, and all the travel places are a lot less crowded. So, therefore, I like being homeschooled because it allows me to learn at my own pace while also having time for other activities. Besides the flexibility, I'd say homeschool allows you to learn more. Since there's no set curriculum, you can pick and choose what way you want to learn, especially in middle school and high school, self-study or video learning, online classes or community college classes. Each subject is separate from the others. So say if you're really good at math, you can take a class one grade higher. Or if you need some extra help in science, you can slow down and not take as hard of a level. Another thing that some of my public school friends complain about is annoying people in their classes. Someone who is disrupting their class or dragging everyone behind. Well, in homeschooling, there are no other students besides me, so I don't have to worry about being the worst in the class or waiting for others to catch up. Of course, homeschooling means you can stay at home, so that's why, during the pandemic, nothing really changed for me. I still stayed at home most of the day and still did online classes. Another of my favorite parts of being homeschooled is sleeping in. Since the teacher, my mom, usually sleeps in until 9 to 10-ish, school tends to start after lunch. Of course, if I wake up early, I can get my independent work done or my instrument practice. Another good thing about being homeschooled is that you're more sheltered and protected from outside stuff. Although some people would say being sheltered is bad, I think it is better not to be introduced to the craziness and weird ideas out there until I am ready and mature enough to handle it. Speaking of being mature, by the time I get to college, I'll be ready to study on my own, and I'll need to be responsible and keep up with all the deadlines and schedules. I know a lot of people go crazy in college with no adults to watch them and no one to tell them to do their homework. But I already know how it feels to be on my own for homework, and so homeschooling has greatly prepared me for college. Some drawbacks of being homeschooled is that there's less social interaction. I know a lot of people think socially awkward when they hear homeschool, which is definitely not true. The social time can come from other places, such as youth group, orchestra, or sports teams. Another inconvenience of homeschooling is that science experiments are harder to do at home, especially if you don't have the equipment or your parents don't want you to clean up the kitchen. Still, though, being homeschooled has a lot more opportunities to pursue your passions and learn at your own pace. I'm very blessed and grateful to have a stay-at-home mom who can teach me and watch out for me, giving me this opportunity to be homeschooled. I hope you learned a lot about me today and about homeschooling. Thank you for listening.
Hey, that was a really great icebreaker speech, Eliana. I'm not sure if I should address you with that. I don't know why that's in there. But anyways, moving on to speaker two of this evening, Rachel, who actually has a title, The Pain of Nostalgia and the Blessings of the Future. Sounds like something I would use to describe the back rooms with. Maybe the next time I'm the table topics master, you will be seeing more of those. But anyway, Rachel, the floor is yours.
Alas, the season of college applications is here, and my future is right ahead of me. I know I have a bright future and a great present, but I often miss the past and want to go back. Nostalgia hits hard to anybody, but especially me because of this strange ability that my brain has. You see, I have highly superior autobiographical memory, or HSAM. This allows me to remember every day of my life in detail since about 2018 when I was 10 to 11 years old. And since I remember more, that makes me more nostalgic. I often remember how much fun I had when I was younger, and it makes me miss the carefree days I used to have. When I compare my carefree younger days to my current days of college apps and heavy high school homework, I start wishing I could go back to being a kid again. One thing I still enjoy that I've enjoyed since I was young is role play. When I was younger, even as old as 12, role playing was more socially acceptable, I guess, and people cared less about what other people thought of them. Back then, I could run around the the grass like a chicken with its head cut off and not care what anyone else around me was thinking, and I could just not think about heavy life issues or responsibility and whatnot. Now I'm in high school, and I've been in high school for a while, and it feels like I'm expected to behave a certain way. Nowadays, I spend at least 5 hours a day doing homework, and I feel like I don't really have much time to be wild and weird. I often look at how much fun the younger kids are having at my school, and I wish I could go back to having that much fun and being that carefree. I feel very nostalgic about things as recent as 2 years ago when I was a sophomore. Some of my best days. But as I contemplate my nostalgia and wish I could go back to being a carefree young girl, I realize that there's a lot I have now that I didn't have then, and that in a way my present is almost just as wonderful as my past, as well as my future. Even if college apps and high school are both very difficult and cause me a lot of stress, they are paving the way for my future career. Also, I've improved myself as a person a great deal over the years, and that's something I'm very proud of. I often look back on the mistakes I made during my young carefree days, and I wonder, why on earth would I think that way, or why on earth would I do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. Also, I've taken a lot of wonderful trips this year, like when I went to Yellowstone and when I went to the Little House on the Prairie 50th anniversary event. I have a few new friends that I met through the Little House on the Prairie anniversary event, and a lot of faithful friends that I've known for several years. I have a loving family, a little dog, two pet snails, and a lot of Little House on the Prairie merch. As soon as I remember all the wonderful things that I have now, I realize that even if I miss the past is not the only wonderful part of my life. The present is absolutely wonderful, and I know I have a bright future ahead of me. Additionally, growing up does not mean I have to stop being myself. My mom is always, and I mean always, reminding me that just because I'm growing up and going into college within the next year does not mean I need to stop having fun. I'll still be able to have fun, and I don't need to change who I am just because I'm getting older. That's really not how things work. If I enjoy role playing, I shouldn't be afraid to. I'm an actress after all. If my interests differ from those of others, that's wonderful. That's great. We are all unique and special in our own way. You can be yourself and have fun no matter how old you are. My grandparents still have a lot of fun being themselves. Be a zealot about not losing sight of who you are, regardless of your age. Now, let me ask you all a question. Do any of you feel nostalgic and want to go back in time to where things were less stressful or perhaps seemed more fun? there's something I want you all to know tonight. Even if we miss the fun times of yesteryear, there are a lot of wonderful things waiting for us in the future. And if we focus too much on the past, there's so many blessings we can miss in the present. Of course, we should appreciate the memories of bygone years because they can bring us so much joy in the present, especially when we're feeling down. But we should also know that we can't lose sight of how much we'll be blessed right now and in the future, and that we shouldn't miss a single blessing. And we should keep being our unique selves, no matter how much time passes. And we should still not care what other people think, just like we were in our younger days. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, for that really good and inspirational speech about nostalgia in general and looking on the past. Also, I noticed Eliana is now no longer called she's called Phew, I'm done now. Which, by the way, don't worry, you were gonna do great anyways. This is not quantum mechanics, okay? Anyway, anyway, now on to the table topic section of the meeting, which will be hosted by Angelina, who I'm sure has spent all week cooking up the greatest questions mankind has ever seen. So the floor is yours whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Ethan. So I don't think there are any particular holidays that are really soon or have passed. So I just decided to do a table topics based on politics and law since I know elections just ended. And there are a few silly questions, but most of the questions are more practical. So the first question will be for Rachel. And the question is that you just became the president of the United States. If you had the ability to immediately pass any law, what would the first law you enforce be?
I just became the president of the United States after some long, hard work. I do think there are some things that could be changed in this country. And one thing that I think should be outlawed is the mistreatment of other people in general. Domestic violence is a very scary problem that occurs nowadays, and I think it should be outlawed. In gated communities, it's harder for bad things to happen, but it is still possible, and in non-gated communities as well. But I believe that domestic violence often goes overlooked and unnoticed, and it's not as much paid attention to as other crimes that are more public and open to the public eye. So I believe that there should be more police around in all kinds of neighborhoods. No neighborhood is truly safe, and we all know that. So I believe we need more people to protect us in a non-invasive way. But if there are more people around to be aware of any suspicious activity, we might feel a lot safer and could prevent a multitude of problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. I definitely agree with you. That problem does go overlooked a lot of times. The next question will be for Alex. And the question is, you just became the vice president of the United States. You start to notice that the president is thinking about making some rash decisions. What kind of advice would you give to the president?
As the vice president, I already know the president respects me, and he chose me for a reason. So I should not be scared to tell him what I think and help him out. he just made this radical idea that he thinks would be great. However, I really don't agree with it, and I don't think that would be the best. And I don't think that would make the people too happy about his campaign. First thing I would do is just be frank with him. I've been his working partner for so long. I don't think I need to be scared. I can just walk up to him face to face and tell him, hey, don't do this. I don't think it's too smart. He probably will be a bit angry and ask, well, why? Give me some reasoning. And I'll tell him why I think this. And hopefully, because he respects me, he will actually listen to my feedback and take that into account. And with my feedback and all the other staff that we have, we can together revise his plan to create a plan that, in everybody's eyes, is better for the people and can satisfy all parties involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. I definitely agree with you. The president chose you for a reason, so you guys should work together to resolve any issues. The next question will be for Michelle. So you're just sitting at home when you receive a notification that you have been elected as the mayor of your city. What are the first steps that you would take to prepare for this role?
Wow, I don't even have a phone and I got elected as the mayor, guys. I'm just that special. Wait, how do I become a mayor? Guys, I'm a kid. I don't know how to do this. Okay, time for a quick Google search, guys. Well, no, not really. But according to myself and all the issues I have been seeing around my little place that I call home, there's been a lot of constructions and fixings. There's a lot of problems with the water pipes and the roads. So maybe my first step to, oh God, maybe my first step to helping my little place, I will be first trying to finalize the construction around my place, fixing all the issues before moving on to bigger issues that will build off these issues. Lots of issues, guys. That's all. Back to you.
Thank you, Michelle. I think it's a good idea to finalize the construction since that is a very important part of your city. So the next question will be for William. And the question is, you have also just become the new mayor of your city. Half of the people in your city are happy, but the other half are unhappy. What steps would you take to appeal to both parties?
In my little community in Southern California, there's a saying that goes, actions speak louder than words. So yes, while I may have been elected as the mayor by only half of my constituents and the people of my fair little city, I will make it known that I stand for all people in the community, not for one party or the other, not for one group, one political action committee or the other. I stand for all. And the reason behind this is that when you have someone in a place of high leadership, even if it's at just the city level, we need effective leadership that listens to all perspectives, weighs the options, and then moves forward with a decision. In my community, some of the most pressing issues include the continued funding and support of our public schools, as well as reviving our old economy to match times with the new. My community is also deeply rooted in the past, and while I believe that we need to preserve our traditions, we also need to move forwards. Find that balance between traditionalism and progressivism. By taking these 3 simple steps and appealing to the public, my popular ratings will exponentially increase over my term. And I hope that by the end of my term as a city council member and mayor of my fair city, that I will once again be able to run for re-election as William Chang for the people and for the community, not William Chang for the party. And that is how, future leaders, you should conduct your campaigns too. Run for the people and not against their will.
Thank you, William. I do agree with you. It's really important to be a whole leader to your whole community and not just one group of people. So the next question will be for Ethan. So the question is, you are a rising politician and you were just elected as the Speaker of the House. What are your goals for the next 2 years and how will you work to execute them smoothly?
Okay. First of all, I gotta be real frank with you. I am not the best person to ask for any political questions because I am not a very good politician. And I would probably also not be a very good politician even 2 decades from now. However, it appears that I've just been elected to Speaker of the House by some stroke of miracle. I don't even know if that is a correct phrase. Now, as Speaker of the House, as well as being third in the line of presidential succession, according to the fair Constitution of the US, I'm also in charge of the House of Representatives, I believe. So one of my main goals would be to reduce gridlock because the current Congress, since the current in-session Congress right now is the 118th Congress, and it only takes cursory Google searches to realize that this has been one of the least efficient Congresses in the history of the United States, which is bad because an inefficient Congress cannot pass many good laws. And if you cannot pass good laws, you are not doing your job properly. And this is almost certainly not only because of the extremely involved legislative process that bills have to go through in order to become laws, but because of increasing partisanship, which is so well documented that I've even done a research project over it. So, as Speaker of the House, in my limited constitutional powers, that would be the main thing I would try to do. Reduce gridlock and partisanship in the Congress so that we don't pull another 118th and start going into gridlock every time we try to pass legislation. Because then people would hate us, and that is not good. Back to you, Angelina.
Thank you, Ethan. That sounds like a good goal, and I hope you are successful. The next question will go to Kara. So you are a very successful politician. One day, a young adult sends a letter to you asking you to give them advice on how to deal with situations that don't go as planned. What kind of advice would you tell them?
Being a politician is not for the faint of heart. As a politician, I have had to overcome obstacle after obstacle over the course of my career. And in order to rise to the position that I am in currently, that means that I have had to combat all the more crises and overcome them all. So, as a politician, I would like to give you my advice on how to overcome problems when things do not go your way. In order to overcome a problem, there are many tactics that different people will tell you to use. Among them, something important can be to step back and think about the issue from an impartial perspective. This can allow you to see the issue in a new light, and this will allow you to maybe tackle it from a different angle, or it will let you accept the failure and move on, because in the grand scheme of things, it is likely only a small part of your life, and you will have many other opportunities to succeed in your future ventures. So my main advice would be to take a step back and to think about your issue in a different way. Thank you, and back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Kara. I think that's really good advice, and it's really easy to follow as well. Next, does Hillary, do you want to answer this question? If not, then I don't know if I'm saying it right, but does Hamilton want to try answering a table topics question? I think it's good to try. You guys, it doesn't have to be a very good answer. You can really say, be creative with your answer. You don't have to stick to a strict outline. So it would be a good opportunity for you guys to practice speaking as well. So I really encourage you guys to try and answer a question if you are willing to. Okay, well, if not, we can always come back to you later. And if you do want a question, just let me know and I'll assign you a question. In the meantime, I think I'll ask Caleb. So say that you are re-elected as the President of the United States. During your previous term, you noticed that a lot of conflict arose and you were not able to fully settle it. What would you try to do differently this year to help relieve some of that conflict?
A house divided cannot stand. And that is a problem with America today. If you look at a recent election, or even the history of the past recent elections, you will very quickly notice that America is no longer the united country that it was at the end of the American Revolution, perhaps at the end of World War II. What has happened? And why is this a problem in my presidency and is hindering me to do the work that I need to do to make this country great? And the problem is division. The American people are divided among simple, perhaps common, basic truths, basic morals, basic ideologies in their political thought. And this division makes it difficult for anyone to accomplish the goals for America that must be in place with the help of a united people. So what I'm going to do this term as president is I'm going to make sure in none of my statements or none of my actions I am trying to polarize or call out some certain behavior, some certain political viewpoint, etc. Because this action is what causes the division, the hatred, and all the negativity that we see. We must be positive, we must be unified, we must recognize that we live in a pluralistic society, a society with people of many different views, religions, backgrounds, education levels. And we must find common ground and unite, listen to each other, speak first, listen, seek to first understand and then to be understood. And as your president, this term, what I will do is I will make sure that we, as a country, and I, as your president, listen and make sure to meet your needs, but at the same time, make sure to unite the people. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Caleb. I think that was a really powerful quote. You have to first understand to be understood. So next, I just want to ask again, do any of the guests want to speak? So Hillary or Hamilton? And if you feel more comfortable with slightly easier question, I can do that as well. All right, well, I think we have time for maybe one more question. Yeah, so the next question will go to Claire. So say that you woke up one day and you find that you have switched bodies with a politician. What is going on?
It is a normal, beautiful day. I sit up, turn off my alarm, get out of bed, and start trudging my way to the bathroom as usual, first thing in the morning. I turn on the light switch, and before I can react, I see someone in the mirror. So I scream, "Who is in my house and what are they doing?" I pause, look down, and see that I am no longer myself, but someone else. So I look back up once more at the mirror to inspect what body I have transformed into or who has taken my place. I was shocked. It was like I suddenly was surprised that I became the President of America, the previous President Joe Biden. I was in his place as the leader of America, envisioning my new life as the future leader of the entire United States. So happily as I am, I race off out of the bathroom, out of my house, and announce to the world that I am no longer Claire, but President Joe Biden. So for the rest of this meeting, you may call me by President Joe Biden. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Claire, thank you, President Joe Biden, for that answer. It's really interesting to see how you've woken up into a new body. So I think that will be all for the table topic session. Next time, I also do encourage the guests to speak because it's a good way to be creative with your answer, and there's no strict outline or requirements, so it's really whatever you want to say. Next, I will be passing order to the general evaluator, which is Joe Biden. Take it away.
Thank you, Angelina, for passing it on to me. So to start off the rest of the meeting, we will begin with our first speech evaluator, who is William. William, take it away.
Thank you for giving me a chance to speak at your inauguration, President Biden. I'd like to first start off by congratulating Eliana on a well thought out, well planned icebreaker speech. Before I begin, how many of you remember how you felt when you were giving that first icebreaker speech? Show of hands. A lot of people remember what their first icebreaker speech felt like. Did it feel scary? Did it feel nerve-wracking? I'm sure it did, because that's the shared experience. And Eliana, as our icebreaker speaker of the day, you did an excellent job in delivering your speech and helping us to get to know you better. This evaluation will be divided into two main components. I'll start with some of your strengths and move on to some areas of improvement that we'd like to see in your future speeches. First, let's start off with some of your greatest strengths. I think that you do a very good job of stating what it is that stands out about you. And for everyone, that's a little different. I remember my first icebreaker speech was about rejection and about failure, but you talked mostly about homeschooling, which is For many of us within this club, not all of us, but for most of us within this club, is a shared experience. We don't really have that experience of being homeschooled. So your speech really does shed some light on that experience. I also like how you focused on this topic. So at the beginning of the speech, I was expecting you to kind of give out a list of your hobbies, what you like to do, but you actually subtly integrated those hobbies and other quirks about you and your life into that general narrative about homeschooling. For example, sports teams, if you played any sports, orchestra, if you play some instruments. And I found that to be very interesting. A final strength that I noticed, especially within your speaking, is that you speak like a debater. What I mean by that is that when you give out your points, you immediately state the counter argument. You go on to refute the counter argument. For example, I noticed that you made a lot of interesting points, such as the fact that being homeschooled helps to shelter you from certain things that you would rather be exposed to later on in life, right? And you talked about how some people might think that's actually not good, but what do you think of the matter? So that's a very interesting structure, and I haven't seen that structure in a while, so it's very refreshing to hear you speak on that, Eliana. Just some general notes for improvements as we move along. I wanted to just make clear that there's a secret about public speaking. Ready, everyone? It's that the audience is, well, all audience members are zealots for personal stories. So I was thinking, if you can find some way to work in more personal stories, describe what you feel about homeschooling or some specific experience that you've had while being homeschooled, that would be even more appealing to the public. Moving on, one more area of improvement is that I think that if you were able to add on just a bit more about your experience being homeschooled and maybe integrate a few more quirks about you, such as maybe your favorite subject or something that you don't necessarily enjoy about homeschooling, that would be also add more meaning to your icebreaker speech. But overall, Eliana, I think you did a wonderful job in your first icebreaker, your first speech here at the Future Leaders Gavel Club. We're looking forward to hearing you speak again. And if you can just work in some more substance and a few more quirks, personality, and some stories into your speech, I think that your speaking will only continue to improve. And you will one day, and you already are, a public speaking zealot.
Thank you so much, William, for your wonderful speech evaluation. I loved how you treated your evaluation like a speech itself. I love the hook. And thank you for offering such great and positive advice. Next, I will pass it on to our second speech evaluator of the day, who is Alex. Alex, take it away.
Thank you very much. Rachel, the pain of nostalgia and the blessings of the future. First off, what a title. I mean, I don't think I could have ever came up with a title like that, so I think that was a great hook as well. So great job. And on that, the topic you chose, I think the topic you chose today was really, really good. I was definitely hooked for it, and I could also tell the audience was definitely paying attention. And I think it's just a very unique topic that I personally have not really heard much about. So I feel like great job on that. I think you really, really excelled at your clarity. Your words were very clear. I could understand the words you're saying. You were talking at a good pace, and it just really helped me understand it. It didn't make me think too much. It helped me consider my own thoughts and not have to worry about, oh, what is she saying? Which is really great. I also really, really like how you ended it. You ended it with a question, and then you gave a message to your audience. That really wakes up your audience and gets them to think about your speech, which I think is great. And I think whenever teachers come up to me, they always tell me to try to get your audience hooked at the end with your conclusion, and I think you did a great job at that. I think you can definitely work on your hand gestures. Your camera, just like how I am kind of now, is around shoulder level, which means you kind of have to raise your hands up a bit to get these gestures in. So maybe lowering your camera just a tad bit, so maybe it'll be a bit easier and more natural to do hand gestures. Or if you are able to, standing up, and that could just help everything, could help some movement and make it a bit more intriguing. I also think you could maybe work on your vocal variety a bit, maybe adding more passion and more emphasis, more adding on to the front of the word at more, or maybe slowing down and going to a more mellow tone at different parts of your speech could definitely make your speech more interesting and get the audience very hooked and very awake. However, oh wait. I think eye contact, I'm reading off my list. I think is your eye contact is good. However, I think your camera is a bit close to your face, so it's kind of obvious like when you're peeping at your script or what you're reading off of, but I honestly don't think that's too much of an issue as I do it myself and that's really bad and I'm doing it right now. However, other than that, I think your speech was great today, and I really enjoyed it. I definitely think the audience really enjoyed it. So, big congrats on your speech, and thank you very much, Rachel, for the speech. Oh my God.
Thank you so much, Alex, for your wonderful speech evaluation. And I love the specific and thorough suggestions as well. Next, I will pass it on to our odd counter of the day, who is Caleb. Caleb, take it away.
Thank you, Claire or Joe. Today I was the all counter, and here is my report. For our Toastmaster of the day, Ethan, I didn't catch anything. For speaker 1, Ileana, and for speaker 2, Rachel, I did not catch any crutch words. Congratulations. For our Table Topics Master, Angelina, I caught one and one well and one so. Rachel, our first speaker, I caught 2 so's. Table Topic Speaker 2, Alex, I didn't catch anything. Table Topic Speaker 3, Michelle, I caught 1 but. Table Topic Speaker 4, William, I didn't catch anything. Ethan, I caught 2 so's. Table Topic Speaker 6, Kara, I didn't catch anything. And for myself, I didn't catch anything, as well as for Joe, I didn't catch anything as well. William, you had 1 and in your evaluation, and Alex, I caught 1 in your evaluation. Everyone did great, and I can tell that all of you are zealous about reducing your crutch words. Thank you, and back to you, Claire or Joe.
Thank you so much, Caleb, for your odd counter report. And then next, I will pass it on to our grammarian of the day, who is Kara.
Thank you, Joe. So as your grammarian, first I would like to give some more general notes for everyone in the meeting. I noticed that in the meeting, a lot of people were using the words good and bad quite frequently. And if possible, it is generally preferred if everybody uses words that are more specific and more sophisticated than good or bad. So moving on to the more specific notes, Ethan, as Toastmaster, I liked when you said this is starting to sound rather like a game of hot potato. It wasn't really grammar specifically, but it was a creative connection that I enjoyed. Speaker 1, Eliana, I noticed that you had one instance of awkward grammar where you said, so therefore, I like being homeschooled. You should say only so or only therefore, but so therefore would be incorrect. I enjoyed one part of the speech where you said self-study or video learning, online classes or in-person classes. And I enjoyed that you had a lot of varied vocabulary. Rachel, good job for using the word of the day. And I like that you started the speech with alas. It captured my attention and was creative. I did notice that you said you pronounced the word often as often, which is a very small thing, but I know some people might judge you for that. But you also had a lot of very good grammar, such as using the words socially acceptable, contemplate, and bygone years. Okay, and then Angelina, as table topics master, I noticed that you had very precise phrasing that was very effective in delivering your message, which was very good. And you also used a lot of more sophisticated words such as rash decisions and resolving issues. So as table topics, I'll try to go quicker. As table topic speaker, Rachel, I liked that you said preventing a multitude of problems, but at one point you did say make something more public and open to the public eye, which is redundant. Alex, as table topic speaker 2, I like that you said revise his plan and satisfy all parties involved. Those were instances of good phrasing. Then Michelle, I liked that you used the word finalize in your speech. William, you had a lot of good phrasing and vocabulary. I liked the last bit of your speech where you said William Chang for the people and for the community, not William Chang for the party. I think that mirroring the phrasing like that was a good choice in delivering your message. Ethan, I looked it up and stroke of miracle is not a phrase. I think you meant stroke of luck, or you could also say miracle in that situation. And I liked that you said cursory Google searches. For myself, I didn't catch anything. And Caleb, I like that you said we as a country and I as your president. I think that mirroring phrasing like that is very cool and it is effective. Claire, I like that you used a lot of very descriptive wording in describing how you woke up and how you trudged to your bathroom. And then William, as speech evaluator, you did well in using words like integrated and narrative when talking about the speech. And you also used the word of the day twice. Alex, I noticed you had a tendency during your speech to say really, really, and you used this phrasing multiple times, which is fine, but it's generally better if you would vary it a bit more. But I also noticed that you had some good words like intriguing and mellow tone. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Kira, for your wonderful speech. And then next, I will pass it on to our timer of the day, who I believe is Janya.
Thank you, Joe Biden. So starting with the speeches, Eliana had 4 minutes and 42 seconds. Rachel had 6 minutes and 24 seconds coming to the table topics. Rachel had 1 minute 44 seconds. Alex had 1 minute 18 seconds. Michelle had 1 minute and 4 seconds. William had 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Ethan had 1 minute and 51 seconds. Cara had 1 minute 39 seconds. Caleb had 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Claire had 1 minute 48 seconds. Coming to the evaluations. Speech evaluator 1, William had 4 minutes 29 seconds. Speech evaluator 2, Alex had 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Counter Caleb had 1 minute and 6 seconds. And grammarian Kara had 5 minutes and 36 seconds. Thank you, and back to you, Joe Biden.
Thank you, Janya, for your report. Overall, for my general evaluation, I would say that the speeches today had the spirit of a zealot. Eliana, I loved your speech and learning more about you and your experiences being homeschooled. And Rachel, I loved how you shared such a nostalgic and inspirational story. Thank you for sharing your experiences and allowing me to feel like I'm not the only one. So overall, today we had a very smooth meeting. Everything went very well. And with that being said, I will pass it to our president, Caleb. Caleb, take it away.
Thank you so much, Claire. I want to say thank you everyone to a successful meeting tonight. Congratulations once again to Eliana for your official start in the Toastmasters journey, and I know that you'll be a very different person because of this program. So congratulations. And actually, Eliana is too humble to tell you, but she actually won a competition through the Royal Conservatory of Music, and she's going to be playing at Carnegie Hall in January on piano. So congratulations, Eliana, on that, and again, congratulations on your speech. So we have some exciting announcements. I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right, can everyone see my screen? Just thumbs up. All right. So next week, we are going to be having a speechcraft workshop led by distinguished Toastmaster Susanna Wong, and this is going to help us prepare for the intra-club competition. Then, the week right after that, November 27th, bring your instruments. We're going to have a music recital here at the FLGC, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, in the chat, real quick, I want to put a link. This is the sign up link. You can sign up, put your name, piece information, and if you don't play an instrument, let me know, and we'll see what we can do to make sure you have a part in this special recital. Next up, remember that the week right after that, I know it's getting kind of close, but we're gonna have our speech contest on December 4th, 2024, and this is going to be to select a representative for the USA Gavel Club's competition. But the goal of contest is to participate, so we encourage everyone to participate, prepare a speech, because a contest is a great way to prepare a speech at a high level. So definitely participate in this contest, and we will look forward to hearing your speeches. And one last announcement is that we're going to be having one more workshop before the end of this year. And on December 18th, I've invited a great friend of mine, Dr. Robin Dickinson, to give a workshop at the FLGC. Dr. Robin is an educator, family physician, and medical school faculty, and she'll be presenting about the doctor's path, careers, skills, and communication for aspiring medics. And maybe if you want to be a doctor, or you don't want to be a doctor, or you're still thinking about it, I know that everyone will take something away from this workshop. So save the date, December 18th. That is all for my announcements. And remember to invite your friends to the workshops, contests, etc. I think everyone will really enjoy it. Rachel, if you have a question, please let me know.
So I was wondering about the recital in a few weeks. Would it include other performing arts such as like acting and whatnot?
You know, I was actually thinking about that. I was thinking that it might be better to change it to a FLGC talent show to be more inclusive to all sorts of genres. So I'll make a flyer and correct that, and we'll correct that in all our promotional, because I think some of you also play, aside from playing instruments, maybe instead of playing instruments, you do something else. So we're going to change it to a talent show. I think that's a great point that you mentioned, Rachel, but also I know you play piano, so if you want to play piano, that's okay. But please sign up in the link, because it's going to be important for us to know how many people are signing up and how long all the pieces are, so that we can kind of create an agenda or a program, and we can have everyone participate that way. And with that said, does anyone have any other questions, comments, or feedback about the meeting tonight? Any other last minute questions? All right, if not, thank you everyone for coming. And oh, I think I need a clarification. The workshop is going to be on the 18th. That is going to be the last meeting of the year, because the week after that is going to be Christmas. It's Christmas Day. So it's going to be a great way to end this year. And without further ado, I would like to call this meeting to a close at 7:02 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you everyone for coming. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see everyone next week for the workshop. Thank you, and have a great rest of your week.